This is part 2 of an eye-opening conversation where Gavin and Dave lay the groundwork of how you're being controlled by fraud, collusion, and outright manipulation in the courts. You'll want to watch that before continuing here, as Dave shares some real-life experiences that'll surely blow your mind. You'll find part 1 listed on our channel just before this one. Now, let's join Gavin and Dave as they continue to uncover the truth.
So that's my little story about the court.
That guys, I mean, look, there's different folks out there that say that the natural law stuff doesn't work. I mean, this is absolute proof that it's real. It's
Gold
very
dust, yeah.
real.
Gold dust.
It takes balls, one, I think, to do that, but also your wealth of knowledge clearly is a great foundation to be able to go in there with that level of confidence and do what you did. I mean, another thing to be clear with, guys, this was a magistrate's court. You were there on criminal charges. This was a pretty, for anyone, that's a serious matter. Yeah. And that's how Dave dealt with it. So, and this kind of really goes into what we're doing with sovereign empowerment. It is about empowering ourselves and understanding who we really are and learning how to unpick, like Dave has done, the matrix, all of the lies, all of the obstruction, all of the deceit, all of it. It's an illusion. And when you know what Dave knows, you can actually navigate that very easily.
Well, we're beating them at their own laws. We're using their own acts and statutes to actually beat them. Yeah, if people realize that the Queen isn't even the Queen, since 1952, she has signed her oath at the top of the paper, and no act and statute is actually lawful.
Absolutely. There's no sovereignty to any of this stuff, is there? There's no crown. No. It's all there. It's a lie.
All fake lies, deceit. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the sooner we wake up to that reality, the sooner the whole thing ends, because it's our participation in the lie that maintains the lie. It's as simple as that. Absolutely. And that's why we're doing these videos, and Dave kindly came on here to share that story. So let's go into natural law, because that kind of dovetails nicely into that. Can you explain to people that don't really know it, or maybe they confuse it with common law? There's a lot of the common law Magna Carta talk going around. What is natural law? How does this stuff work?
Well, the natural law is just it's the God-given rights to every man, woman, and child on the planet. Don't do any wrong to anybody else. That's it. That's there's no acts, there's no statutes. It's just don't do any harm to anybody else. Live your life as you live your life. But don't do any harm to anybody else. That's basically it.
So if you look at that statement and with what you've just shared as a story, how did you use natural law, our jurisdiction, you being a man, to essentially get that win?
Well, first of all, I've done my live life claim. So my live life claim it amplifies my intent to be a man. So what these courts are doing is they're using your straw man, your fictitious name, the all caps name, to bring you into court. It's not you, it's your straw man. It's the person that you're living with that is the all caps name, which is not you. And they've got to tie all this debt in some way to that name. So any court, any bailiff agency, any council will have your name in the all caps. So straight away, because I have my live life claim and I've got my witnesses to the live life claim, they've got a copy of my live life claim, and they've also got an essence of my essence of man certificate, again witnessed by 3 people. They couldn't deny that I was a man. And anybody that's in that sort of situation where they're asking a judge, do you see a man standing in front of the judge will do a dance around them. He won't answer the question. So what you can say to that is, if a judge asks you, or when they're asking you names in a court, they're saying, what is your name? And you'll answer, usually in a court. Now, what is not your name? What they're doing is they're telling you that you are a verb. So what is not your name? So because they've not given you a dictionary of their terms, of glossaries of words, what they're doing is they're doing magic on you. They're turning the whole dictionary against you. So they're using their own babble to try to get you into trouble. And you literally get yourself into trouble. As soon as you walk into that court and you name your name, you say your name, that's it. They've got you under a contract. So they're doing that trust thing, 3 people to make a trust. So as soon as you've told them your name, that's it. They've got you under that spell of the maritime law.
So a lot of what we're learning is one, being aware of the straw man, and then two, it's how to control it, how to use it to our advantage. If we're going to enter their world and the legal system, how we control that straw man. But a lot of what you've done, Dave, has been to not even enter that world. It's to stay in natural law and win that way.
Absolutely.
Which is essentially what you're saying with the PCN route, isn't it? And how you've been doing that too.
Absolutely. Well, again, you're beating them at their own game. You're not entering into that little private contract. I am sending letters back. I am telling them that they're under the regulations of the Universal Postal Union and that they're committing fraud through postal. The redress for postal union fraud is massive. It's like £20 million per letter. So when you send this evidence to the Universal Postal Union, it's up to them to decide, the fraud that's going on between the councils and what have you. So in my case, I have let the Universal Postal Union know that all the councils are doing this on a daily basis, and I've sent them the original envelopes with the PO box numbers at the back, the PO box addresses. So it's just fraud.
Have you heard anything back on that?
People just realised. Say again.
Sorry to interrupt. Have you heard anything back on that yet?
Not from the Universal Postal Union. No. I spoke with a representative not spoken with him. I emailed a representative from the Universal Postal Union. They told me to send all the stuff, so I've sent all the stuff to them. It's up to them to rattle through it. I mean, there's 3,300 pages odd, so it's up to them. But the repercussions for the councils, the repercussions for the governments that are using these silly envelopes with the boxes in them, with the PO box, it's ridiculous. They shouldn't be doing it. It's fraud.
They shouldn't be doing a lot of things. And this moment in time, I think, is about all of us collectively becoming more and more aware of this, which is why you're here, why I want to share this information with people. And it just comes down to, guys, learn contract law and learn that there is such a thing as trusts. They are real. They do have their basis in natural law, but they are absolutely real. Equity is real. And actually, on that note, just to wrap this up, we talked about trust, and you saying that, with the DVLA as an example, if you look at this system and how it tends to work, how do they enforce? It always goes to an enforcement agent, a debt collector, a bailiff, whatever you want to call them, all the same sort of thing, right? Always the same. And what's one of the things they go for? It's the car.
The car.
And you've got a really simple, surefire way of stopping that happening. So
absolutely, it will take you 2 minutes. Just get your V5 document and write on it that you've put your car into a trust. Name your trust, the family name, whatever you want to name it. If you want to keep out your family name, brilliant, but just put a family trust on it, private trust. Send it back to the DVLA, then that car is not yours anymore. What you're going to have to do is inform the insurance company that you've done this, and they just want the trustee of the trust. So you give them maybe your sister's name, your name, whoever's the trustee of your trust. We're going to be doing trust documents in the future, so all the people that want to do this can put their names into trust. It's so simple. Then the bailiffs cannot take your car off the driveway or the main roads. Simple. This is what they go for. This is the weak link in the chain is your vehicles. So we can stop them straight away.
Absolutely can. And I think that one of the things to say, guys, is the ultimate remedy is the trust. It's learning trust law. It's learning about how these trusts actually work. That's the stuff that's been hidden from us. But that information is now becoming more and more freely available.
Absolutely.
Good folks like you, Dave, are sharing that as well. So to what you've just said there, and to you guys watching, what we're going to start looking to do is creating, and I hate the word template, but we'll use it, the templates required to take you through the steps to do this stuff yourself. A lot of this remedy is really easy. You don't need to put all the hours of learning in that perhaps Dave and I have even done to learn the things that we've done. It's a lot simpler than that. And that's the purpose of what we're doing, because I think we haven't spoken about this, Dave, but certainly my view is that the more we can get this information and knowledge out there, the more people that start using it, the sooner this whole thing comes to an end. Because a lot of the reason I think this goes on as well, it's not the system, it's the people in the system.
Yeah.
They're just like us, and a lot of the time I think they just need to be educated as to what it is they're really doing. And if they wake up to what they're doing, the whole thing comes to a grinding halt.
Absolutely. When the money stops, that's it. They're getting off the roundabout. It's
Over.
not going to work.
Absolutely right.
And it's coming to a grinding halt. I can see it with my own eyes. I can see the councils are squirming. I can see the governments are squirming, and I can see the bailiff agencies are squirming.
100% agree. And one of the Achilles heels is the courts, these supposed courts of record that we know are not courts of record.
They're not courts of record.
Getting these different DSARs coming in.
Absolutely. I would urge everybody listening to this to get their own DSARs, and it's so easy to do. Just put your name and address on a piece of paper to the court that whatever's this paperwork comes from, and send them a notice saying, I'd like any information under this DSAR, data subject access request. Simple as that. Two forms of ID, one with your picture, and then they have to give you the information. Simple.
Yep.
It usually comes back within a week.
Yeah.
They say 30 days, but it usually comes back within a week.
Yeah.
I've got one or two that hasn't come back, like yourself, Gavin. So I'm still waiting on some bits and pieces.
Well, I'm getting clear obstruction from the courts now, where they're trying to say that they can't answer the DSAR, they can't respond to the DSAR because it's a live case.
Yeah.
And then they're making, this is the trouble, guys, because when it's a lie, they can only ever lie again. So it's a lie upon lie upon lie. And okay, if it's a live case, fine. Well, then what procedure rules are being followed?
Yeah.
And then they come back in saying criminal procedure rules. And I've had that a few, like criminal procedure rules, really, a civil matter is now become a criminal matter.
Yeah.
You know, but the bottom line is that when you break that down, if this was a real sort of claim, if you like, or even criminal, it doesn't matter. We're still entitled to our court files because we're allowed to defend ourselves. So even it's our information. So it all comes to the same thing, that they might try and obstruct you, but the bottom line is that if this is real, you're entitled to the same information that you're asking for. So if you get obstruction, just keep pushing and just understand their system and what gives you the right to get access to the things that you want access to. And the bottom line is that if they're not a court of record, you're ultimately going to end up with confirmation that there's no record. And if there's no record,
it's fake.
There's your nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. It's all fake. And unless they change all of that and make it truly legit, that's the reality that we're living in.
That's their cash cow. They're not going to do that, are they? As long as the cash is coming in on a regular basis, it's feeding them and their silly, rubbish world. Yeah. But it's coming to an end. I can see it. I can see the cracks starting to appear.
You can feel it, I think, can't you?
We're winning. We're winning. Yeah.
Even for me, the fact that they are obstructing like they are, and the councils are doing the same thing, it shows you're asking very clear-cut, obvious questions that often just require a yes or no answer. And we're getting obstruction all over the place. Another thing that the councils are doing, and you may have got this yourself, guys, is that they'll try and actually respond to a DSAR as a freedom of information request. That's a completely separate piece of legislation, not even related to the DPA Act. That's what they're doing. Yeah, right. And
because the fines are a bit lower.
There you go. There you go. And it gives them a bit more license to be a bit more flowery with the answers they come back with. And when you don't really know what you're doing, how do you respond to that? You know. So my advice, and really just to second what Dave's doing, is learn the DPA Act, learn how powerful that is, and just get good at doing DSARs. And even I just to do this, just do it for fun. Do it. Just do it to see what you get back and see how it works. You know.
You'll be shocked.
You'll be absolutely shocked about how much illegal processing of your data is actually taking place.
Absolutely. Well, in my case, we found out that the courts are actually asking the councils, how do you want us to proceed?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
So that's mind-blowing in itself.
And that gave me an idea of what we're doing, So actually just talk them through that. You basically DSAR'd the council, wasn't it?
I DSAR'd the council. The council didn't respond at all. Not at all. This was back in June or July. So we knew there was fraud, back in June or July, 2021. But when the case actually went ahead and I was excused from the court and I left, I DSAR'd the county court. I DSAR'd the magistrate's court again for information on emails. And I found it was a pile of emails that the council were writing to the courts and the courts were writing back, because of a void order that went in to somebody else in a separate incident. Now, because we put this void order in, obviously you can't void something that wasn't there in the first place. And this is where we tripped ourselves up, because we voided a council tax summons and a council tax liability order that wasn't there. So the courts are scratching their heads saying, how do you want us to proceed with this, to the council? And the council sent back an email which was completely blank. Now, this thing was just completely blank. And the next thing, there was a liability order placed on the court record a year after it happened. Now, that's just blatant, obvious fraud to me. How can you put something on a court record and a clear year after it happened? You know,
Well,
it's just collusion.
Collusion, section 173 of the Data Protection Act as well.
Exactly.
Destruction, erasure of your data, all of these different things.
Absolutely. We got them on so many things. It's just unbelievable.
So there's the power of the DPA Act, guys. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
You know, use it well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, okay, just to wrap this stuff up then, guys, really, I think the lesson is that, you know, learn natural law, learn contract law, learn about trusts and trust law, okay? And understand that you are a man or a woman. Don't get into all this BS that's going on right now in the world with all this LGBT, whatever they call it these days. You're a man or you're a woman, right? And come at it from that perspective. So if you're going into their world, and Robert O'Deck did a great video on this about, you know, persons. You are not a person.
You're not a person.
Look at the Interpretation Act and look at the definition of what they mean. They term a person to mean. You are a man or you're a woman, and come at it from that perspective. And have them actually confirm that fact as well with your notices. We've got actually one in our group right now, and I'm hoping I'm going to be able to do a video like this with him. It's the first one I've known of where he's done exactly that, and they have confirmed that he is a man. And they've actually confirmed that this is a complex matter and they need more time to deal with it. So they've essentially formed tacit agreement that he is a man. I've not known of a council doing that. So it's going to be interesting how we play this thing out now.
Right. If they've tacitly agreed that he's a man, they cannot take him to court. They cannot even verbally agree anything with him, because you are above all that is council.
Absolutely.
They're all corporations. The councils are all corporations under the UK, which is a corporation, you know, working for the governments, which are corporations. So it's all to do with corporations, and you are not a corporation. You are a man or a woman.
Exactly.
So you are above all of this. It's all crap that they're peddling.
Exactly.
Just
and look
crap.
at their legislation. If you look at Council Tax, Local Government Finance Act, look for the word person.
It's there every single time. Every sentence is there. Yeah.
You know, you are not a person. So if you can get them to confirm, and you can, that you are a man or a woman, that's it. It's game over.
Game over.
You know, so what we're going to be doing, guys, as we go forward, Dave's going to be doing the same thing there. We talked about the trust for the cars. We're going to create the paperwork that you good folk can just go and download and access. And then if you want, you know, we'll have some video training to talk you through what that is. But what the intent here is to fast track your learning to get to real remedy. And if you want some more help and advice with coaching or whatever, then you can book a call and speak to Dave or me or whoever else is going to be doing that. But the idea is to get this information out there as quickly as we can to as many as we can, so we can actually go and take action and know that it works. That's the key thing. It's remedy. It's not theory. This is proven to actually work. So I think the summary of this is that natural law is real. Go and comprehend it. It's God's law. Okay, we're all under God here, and I'm not being religious. I'm talking about source. None of the man-made religion that we've been brought up to believe is real. Understand trust, understand contract law. And if you like the format of this video, please share your comments. If there's anything in here that Dave and I have discussed that you want more information on, leave the comment. We're going to give you it. That's entirely what we're doing here, giving you exactly what you want, the knowledge that you need, so we can all go and get our remedy. Dave, do you have anything to add to that?
Just a little. I have actually, just to help anybody that's going to go into court and try some of this stuff. The first thing that you need to ask the judge is, do you see a man standing in front of you? And they're not going to answer at all. And then say, well, I pity you, judge, because if you don't see a man standing in front of you, then you are completely incompetent. You are mentally incompetent to deal with this court. Because if you're hearing and seeing dead people, you cannot hold the court.
What would you just actually playing that out? Let's play that out. I just want to. Sorry, guys, we're going to end up now. I'm going into this a bit more, but I think it's important. If I did that, and the judge is just refusing to answer me, or just carries on railroading, how would you handle that situation?
Well, the minute you say he's incompetent and he cannot hold a court, then it's case dismissed. They cannot continue once you've made that acquisition. They cannot continue. Simple.
So you get that out before anything, basically.
Before anything. What they're trying to do is they're trying to create the joinder with the name, because what they're asking is for the all caps name. And as soon as they call your name out and you go, yes, or I am such and such, you're corresponding with that all capitals name. So first of all, before anything that they say, you say, Judge, do you see a man or a woman standing in front of you? And they're not going to answer. You know, all this rubbish with the oaths and what have you. I mean, that doesn't work. If you say, are you on your oath? They don't answer that either, because none of these judges are on their oaths unless they're in a Crown Court or whatever, you know, QCs. So straight away, you've got them on the back foot. You know, what is your date of, because they haven't given you a dictionary, when they ask you, what is your date of birth? You can say something like, well, a date of birth was given to me on the day I was born. You're answering the question without answering your question. So you can't be done for contempt of court. So you're spinning it. So you're doing exactly what they're doing. So instead of what is your name, what is not your name? You can say that to him. What is not my name? That's a verb. Simple.
Have you done this yourself? Have you used this?
No, I've seen other people doing it, but that was what I was going to do in the court anyway. But this is how I was prepped by other guys. So
there's a guy called Mark
Kishon.
He's in Australia. I've forgotten his name. Oh, damn it. He does solutions something or other. You know what I mean? No. Anyway, the reason I've forgotten his last name, but the reason I'm doing that, he's done quite a lot of video footage of exactly what you just said.
Right, okay.
He's used that in court, exactly the same thing, and just holds them to account to answer that question.
Absolutely.
Am I or am I not a man? And then if they confirm that, well, how is this paperwork relevant to me? Yeah.
Usually they'll just walk out of court. The judge will just get up and walk out. And when at that time you just say case dismissed. I'm the highest ranking officer in this court, bang, case dismissed, and walk out, just literally walk out. Because what they're doing is they're walking out to change the jurisdiction to walk back in. So what they're changing it to another law. So they can go through 3 or 4 different changes of this law without admiralty law. So, they become high priests then to walk back into court and change the jurisdiction. So before they do that, you've got to walk out of court and say dismissed. So it's all the tricks.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. It will blow your mind when you realise what the judges are doing.
Yeah, there's so much to this. But just to keep it simple, guys, contract law and trust law to start with. Don't do what David suggested if you're just getting into it, because you will get chewed up.
Don't do that.
You do need a bit of experience behind you.
Yeah, you do need a bit of experience.
But it is real. It does work, and the system is a sham. So wake up to that fact and stand in your power. Dave, thank you. Appreciate your time. Really,
no problem at all. No problem at all. Thank you.